All right, guys, I'm going to show you today's activity on valence electrons. So this first page here gives you a little kind of debriefing about what a valence electron is. Okay, so don't stress about this first image here. It really just tells you, so it's found on the rings that are furthest from the nucleus. So you're looking for your outside rings, the very outside ring. And then there's a little link here. So that's what it's going to take you to. It's going to take you to this specific periodic table, and you're going to use this to answer the questions. So the other document is going to be this. All right, so a couple things. First of all, please be careful. At the bottom here, let me see if I can move this out of the way. No, I cannot. Maybe here I can. There we go. At the bottom here, make sure you're on your correct period, okay? So make sure that you're scrolling down and you're at the correct period. I'm going to use period 6 as an example, but, you know, I've got all the periods here. So whatever period I have you, I've got you on here. And your names will most likely, if I do my job correctly, your names will be filled in here, okay? So period 6 is my little example with Joe, Bob, Susie, and me. And, sorry, I had to sneeze. Okay, and then the atomic numbers will be filled in for you as well. So I'm going to use this one as a demo for you for what to do, because none of you will have this one. So I put me, I don't know if I'll be Mrs. Brower for you guys or Mrs. Cochran, so it's just there. So I'm atomic number 55. So I'm going to go to the periodic table and I'm going to find atomic number 55, which is right here. And that happens to be cesium. Okay, so you can click on it if you want. It'll stay put if you click on it. So I have cesium. Don't be freaked out by the spelling. This is the British spelling. There's an American version without the A. Whatever way you put it there is going to be fine. I think that's the only one that kind of differs. So don't stress about that. So the atomic name is cesium. And then it asks for the valence electrons. So what's cool about this particular periodic table, if you don't already know this, which maybe this will teach you how, like a cheat sheet way to find the valence electrons, is if you see all these numbers here on the side, I don't expect you to know what all those numbers mean. That's a honors concept that you may not have broached by now. But to find the valence electrons or the outer electrons, all I have to do is look at the very bottom number on this, okay? So same thing, if I was looking at this one, all I have to do is look at the bottom number on this. So for my element, cesium, I have 1 valence electron. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in there. And then it asks for the group number and also the column on the periodic table. And there's a reason I'm pointing both of those out. The group number right here, number 1, is also the column number for some of these. But remember, and if you need to look back at old videos or on your periodic table itself, sometimes that's not the case. So these column numbers don't necessarily mean they're the group numbers as well. So as a reminder, column 13 is actually group 3. We skipped the transition metals. Okay, so recall that or pull up your periodic table if you need to. But for my purposes, cesium is group 1 and column 1. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. So group 1 and column 1. Now this question here, what do you notice about column D and F? You won't be able to answer it based off of the information you see right now on the screen. You're going to need to see other people's data. So you're going to have to hold off on answering this one until you see actually some of column D and some of column F being filled in. And then you could talk about what you notice. Okay, is there a pattern that you see with the number of valence electrons? Again, you can't answer that question until people start to fill in their data. And so I do at some point, this is an in-class activity. If you're not filling out your portion of the data, then I will mark you as incomplete because your data is helping other people answer their questions. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you are doing this in a timely manner so that people can base their answers off of the patterns that they actually see in the data, okay? So what do you see? What patterns do you see with the valence electron? So once column D is filled out, you can notice what pattern you see. And then over here, which elements have the highest number of valence electrons? Again, you're going to have to wait until people fill these in. Ideally, I'm doing this with you and I'm highlighting things that are wrong so that those ones don't confuse you. But if I'm not there, you may not see the ones that are wrong. And so just pay attention to, the trends. If there's one outlier that says there's like 757 valence electrons, that's probably not correct. Look for another one that's large and maybe repeats itself a couple of times. And it's the same thing, which group has the highest number, which group now, so which elements have the highest, and then now which group, and there should be a trend you see there. How does the number of valence electrons relate to the location on the periodic table? That should be something that you can start to notice as well once all that data is in there. And that's it for this one. Okay, that's the very last question. Really, you're just filling out your column, but just keep in mind that a few of these you can't fill out until other people fill theirs out. That's it for today.